はい、じゃあ、it's time to start. おはようございます。はい。Today's part is second part of the human robot. Okay. Last week we have watched many kinds of human robot, small semi-humanoid robot, small size humanoid robot, and full size humanoid robot. And today is the second part. We will do these topics today. まずはロボットフェイス、ロボットヘッドね。Do you think human robotでもいいや、human not necessarily human. Robot need head or face? まあ、emotional expression. For emotional expression, face is very useful. And intentional expression. Robot intentional expression also some parts of the face is very important. And bodily gesture, maybe the human being doing the without consciousness, the bodily gesture, and other people can estimate that person's intention or feelings or emotional conditions such as. So therefore the bodily gesture is also important. まあ、among human beings it's important. But how about robot? Human robot. And one usage of the human robot is the developmental robotics. It means the robot learn and robot studies and then they get some knowledge or the skills. It looks like the infant, small children. Okay? From baby condition to the child condition and become adult. So they are doing some tasks, operations, and then they acquire some knowledge and get the skills or something. So this kind of development robotics is the research about this kind of scientific topic by using the robot. And other various human robots task. And the one important issue today is robot job, human job, robot job, human job, and then the ethical problem, and some sympathy feeling or some love feeling towards robot or not is one issue. Okay? So therefore it looks like this. こう見ると、まあこれベーシックエモーションですね。プルチックっていう人はプルチック make these figures。まあエモーショナルカテゴライゼーション。and ロボットフェイス、ロボットフェイス、ロボットフェイス、フェイシャルエクスプレッション、ロボットフェイス、ロボットフェイス。まあ some kind of robot head looks like this. And then the bodily gesture, and this is the developmental robotics. This is also same. So, and this is one famous robot in Japan. And then from here, some works, various works for human robot. One is receptionist or some secretary or something, and the announcement and the special usage of the human robot, and then all of them is the special usage of the human robot, and some important issue is the job and ethical problem, and then the love with robot. まあ、that is the story. ちょっとじゃあ、まあ見ていくと、ちょっとじゃあ、look at the glance. これですね、エモーショナルコンディション。エクマンっていう人とか、Expression of Emotional in Humans and Animals とかいう本を、this まあ、ストーリー。ロバート・プルチックっていう人が、Field of Emotion っていう、エモーションフィールドっていうのを proposed. And facial expression express various kind of emotions. Look like this. So the humanoid robot, so it has a head. So therefore, try to make some human's expression, human-like expression. It's tried. Face robot. Early 1990s, the Professor Hara at Tokyo University of Science developed this kind of robot, wire-driven or pneumatic rubber-driven, and so on. ですね。で、MIT のこれはプロフェッサー・ブルックスグループ。This sociable robot, social interaction robot Kismet, their group developed. This is a face robot, and some kind of facial expression can be expressed. So therefore, firstly it is said cog って言ってたんだけど、これ見ますか。
Artificial intelligence researchers has always been to build something as intelligent, as human-like as we are. They haven't always admitted that, but that's really what they want. Cynthia Brazil started working with me on our first humanoid cog, and then she developed the robot Kismet, a social robot.
If we want to build a robot that can interact with people, communicate with people, and learn from people, it has to also be social. Because that's the way that people are going to try to teach it, the way they're going to try to communicate to it. You know Kismet? Kismet is an anthropomorphic robotic head that is specialized for face-to-face interaction between humans and this robot. So a lot of the sensors, the actuators, the degrees of freedom have all been specialized for sending as well as receiving the social cues that people very naturally expect that would happen between something like a mother and her infant. Kismet has a very expressive and complicated face. There are a total of 21 motors that have been packed all into Kismet's head and neck system. The robot can perceive people through vision. There are actually 4 cameras on the robot. 9 computers alone are used for vision. Kismet can express in 3 modalities. One is through tone of voice. Another is through facial expression, and body posture is also critical. So approaching, leaning forward when it likes something, withdrawing when it doesn't like something. So we brought in human subjects who've never interacted with the robot before to engage the robot to evaluate, do they find the interaction enjoyable and natural. You're such a cute little robot. You're so smooth. They're going to have to know if the robot understood that. This is done through the robot's expressive abilities.
Oh, you say you love me. I love you too.
So, そういうインタラクションロボットとして It has developed late 1990s, about 20 years ago ですね。で、バクスターって maybe you may know this in robotics Baxter. This same group is now developed this robot, the two dual arm, some kind of industrial robot. So this robot is doing some kind of assembling task or something. And it also has a two-dimensional monitor display which shows eye movement. So therefore, what this robot is focusing on is shown, and some kind of operational intention is shown by these eyeball expressions. どっかに、ちょっとまあいいや、OK。こういうやつですね。eyeball expressions. And also the display, many robots have some two-dimensional display, LCD display, and so on. And most of them have some eyes to express their intention. Okay? Logic head. And also the three-dimensional display like this. This is a three-dimensional glass is there, and some projector system is back behind it, and then it projects the eyeball or brows and mouths or something, and then they express their facial expression. This is Primus University in United Kingdom. どんなやつだったかっていうと、これだけで止まっちゃいますね。はい、まあこういうペットを作りましたよっていうのはプリマスです。あら、トニーっていう人ですね。というわけで、それからハンソンロボティクス、香港ベースカンパニー has developed firstly the Einstein robot and Mr. Han とかいうロボット。And then the Sophia is famous robot, as including some AIs. All of them is maybe wire-driven or some driving robot. And bodily gesture, for the bodily gesture, the Professor Takanishi's group in Waseda University developed this humanoid robot, Kobian. So it has not only the facial expression but also the body gesture has been achieved. ちょっとこれ見てみますか。フェイスロボットか、まずはフェイスロボット。ニューなんかこれエモーションスペースっていうのを作って、なんかサムインプットとかに対してエモーションスペースで This condition will be changed. Emotion, this internal condition, internal emotional condition will be changed. ですね。あとは、まあ、this hand gesture, it has make more human-like bodily gesture っていうやつをやってて、ちょっと他にも、まあ、サプライズで、なんだ、ボールを見せたりとか、showing the ball。まあ、そういうやつですね。それからボディインタラクションとしては、ユニバーシティ・オブ・ハートフォード・ショーっていうユナイテッド・キングダムでカスパーっていうロボットで、これはやっぱり、アンファンとのインタラクション、チューデンインタラクションロボットとか、ジョージアテックでサインとかキューリーとかいうロボット。This kind of robot is also as a developmental robotics or bodily gesture expression and interact with the children it has made. ちょっとこれ、チャイルドサイズロボットヘルプスオーシシックキッズランソーシャルスキルズっていうのを見てみましょうか。
Break down the social barriers faced by many autistic children. The child-sized humanoid can talk, comb his hair, imitate eating, play the tambourine, and sing with the children. Its face was designed to be simple, with easy-to-read expressions.
Well, it's not really cute, isn't it? And they say, oh, why don't you make it look more nicer, more sleek, maybe like a cartoon character? And then we say, no, we wanted to have a robot that's suitable for children with autism, which means that it has realistic, human-like features, but very much simplified.
We need to simplify everything, but it needs to be predictable and accurate. And the predictability of it, from the child's standpoint, is one of the things that he feels safe.
Touch senses help children learn safe social interaction. If a child is too rough, Casper responds accordingly. Casper has worked with about 170 children over 10 years of development.
Because it's very important for us to see what's happened outside the context of the robot. Otherwise, we're just developing a nice toy, fine. But this is not the point.
Autism, Casper has had a big impact. This includes helping a boy previously unable to eat with his classmates.
So, and he really, really enjoyed feeding Caspar, making him eat when he was hungry, things like that. And now he's starting to kind of integrate into the classroom and eat alongside his peers. So things like that we've seen are just massive, massive progression.
Therapist is always involved. So far, they've built 28 Casper prototypes and are seeking investment to get the robot into every school, home or clinic that needs one. Britain's NHS and National Institute for Health Research is conducting a controlled clinical trial with Casper and 40 children, scheduled to run until November next year.
というわけで、Casper っていうのは this robot is used for the supporting of the learning some skills or social skills or social interaction for this kind of children. ディベロップメンタルロボティクスとしては iCurve っていうやつも This Robot Curve Consortium という EU プロジェクトで developed. So this developmental robotics project is the learning skills, acquire some knowledge. This how to acquire the knowledge, how to get the skills is examined by using this robot. So this robot is designed as like the 3.5-year-old child. And object manipulation, some kind of object handling is learned, try and error, again and again. どっかなんか見てみます。まあいいや。Skip. And development robotics is also done in the Osaka University. Professor Asada's group done this from about 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. And ちょっとこれぐらい見るか。はい。これは実プロジェクトのプロモーションビデオですね。Child Robot is Biomimetic Body Platform for Cognitive Developmental Robotics というコグニションですね。レコグニッション。
Scientists It seems to be a promising approach, but to actually see the development of the brain, we need better technology to observe it for longer periods and analyze vast amounts of data. Okay, how about building a robot that simulates child development? That would open up whole new possibilities for understanding the process.
This pneumatic robot, called CB2, has 51 pliant degrees of freedom, making it capable of flexible, lifelike movements and realistic vocal generation. To make it suitable for physical interactions with humans, it has a full-body soft skin and an array of multimodal sensors for visual, auditory, and tactile feedback.
CB2 is capable of childlike full-body motion.
まあこのライトに対してなんかアクションしたってことですね。
Tactile sensors are embedded in silicon skin and mimic the way infants receive tactile sensations during motion. In other words, CB2 can simulate the very same developmental process that a child goes through when generating a self-body image.
Parents assist the motion of their children. Can humans do the same for CB2? In fact, intimate interaction can be performed by only controlling the timing of ballistic motion thanks to its flexible joints. It provides us with quantitative data to analyze what makes the interaction successful. These figures show that it's even possible to measure the degree of synchronization using correlation between CB2's motion and the human behavior.
If both motions are carefully synchronized, as shown by the white curve, the interaction is successful. On the other hand, if the motions are out of sync, the interaction fails.
まあこれスタンディングアップのトレーニングですね。スタンディングアップサポーテッ
Assisted interaction is the simplest form of communication available to
pitch timing, the knee or some leg, the power should be executed is learned.
CB2 receives sensory information from stereo
と
cameras
かさ、
as well as
ベイビーっていうのはさ、まあファーストにランダムにこうやってlaying on, and then the randomly moves their hand, and then they gradually learn how to manipulate the arm, how to point in the exact position as intended. It's learned by after learning some weight or size or some inertia or something, and then they acquire some skill to reach the exact position intended. So the random movement is firstly very important for the development. とかですね。あとはソーシャルインタラクションとしてなんかこのアナウンサーロボットとかなんかヒューマノイドロボアクターロボットとかサムロボットティーチャーとかなんかいろいろアクトロイドとかコミュニケーションアンドロイドとか various kind of robot is developed about 10 years ago ですね。それでもちろんチャイナでもジアジア知ってる？知らない。University of Science and Technology of China で、まあこういうジアジアロボットとかいうヒューマンライクロボット is developed. And the まあ今ディベロップメンタルロボティクスのところねでバーリアスロボットヒューマンロボットのところでなんかまあなんていうか development some kind of beauty is one important interest of human robot developers. And next, the actual usage of human robot is patient simulator, patient robot. 例えばこれ dentist patient. For the dentist to become the dentist, some training is necessary. So the なんか reaction robot is developed, has been developed. The robot simulation, robot reaction simulation. Okay? Human patient simulation because some kind of, yes, if it is make some the pain or make some throat damage or something is reaction has been made. ちょっとどっかなんかなどれがいいか一番短いやつこれか。
2007 International Robot Exhibition, Kokoro exhibited its dental training robot, called Celluloid, as an example of applications for technology that can simulate human expressions, which Kokoro has developed through the mannequin-type robot Actroid. During a dental checkup, the robot simulates a patient, reacting through its voice and movements. When the checkup is over, the dental techniques used and the results of treatment to the patient are stored and reviewed. Hi. The skin of the mannequin's face is very flexible, and the mannequin can show reactions like those of real people. For example, it can close and open its eyes, which can also shine or turn dull. It can also blink and can raise its hands. In this way, the mannequin can provide practice at responding suitably to patients' reactions and expressions during treatment at a university dental department.
特徴は歯科研修をするにあたりまして患者さんがこういう負担ですね、例えば痛いとか苦しいとかそういうようなことをこのロボットは記録をしておいて研修が終わった後に研修者にフィードバックをするということができます。
The software for the special
まあだからレコーディングっていうのは one important for review or give feedback to the trainers ということで、こういうデンタルロボットというのは一つね。So therefore the patient mannequin, patient simulator is developed, especially in the United States. 例えばナーシングとかコードブルーシミュレーションとか。And pregnant. So the pregnant is very important and this is very dangerous condition. So it's difficult to test. It's difficult to learn in a practical, actual pregnant. So therefore, the some simulator robot has been developed. ちょっと例えばシミコーチとかいうやつを見てみますか。
Keep pushing. Scream as much as you want to. Next contraction, baby's coming out. Almost there, Lucy.
Lucy is a $75,000 real-life mannequin that can deliver a baby up to 15 hours of labor, or she can have a spontaneous delivery and deliver within a few minutes.
Take the babies out, skin to skin. Whoops. Oh, can you hear your baby crying, Lucy? Oh, good job. Oh, it's got 10 fingers, 10 toes.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. What a great job.
The purpose of using Lucy and having a vaginal delivery is so that we can reduce the number of non-medically necessary C-sections. The goal is to improve the health of moms and babies. And for moms, a C-section is major surgery. And a lot of people don't realize that. In the past, C-sections have been done for, in many cases, they can be
はい、ということで、こういうマネキンロボットは very very important。で、その中でさっき、before this class I have shown this video, almost human trauma mannequins for military training. So the trauma, the injured as the real field of battlefield is very important because when some soldiers is panicked with his colleagues damaged, it is not good. So therefore, this kind of mannequin robot is developed to simulate the trauma simulation. Yes? これロボットですよ。これね、ロボット。ロボット。まあこういうもんです。まだ見ます？いいよね。こういうトレーニング is very very important。はい、あとダンスパートナーロボットであるとか、フットボール、ロボカップのロボットだとか、あとはなんかテーブルテニスロボット、これはベトナムのロボット、あとはチャイナロボットとか、クーカーのロボットとか、オムロンロボット。はいか、こうなっていいね。はい、あとはモートサイクルロボット。これヤマハseveral years ago, Yamaha developed this robot.
I was created to surpass you. I am improving my skill every day, but I am not sure if I can even beat the 5-year-old you. Perhaps if I learn everything about you, I will be able to catch up. Look, I can ride like this now.
まあこういうモータードライバーロボット作った、デベロップthis kind of モータードライバーロボット。ロッシってフェイマスバイクドライバーです。で、after that they it met with this called Dr. ロッシです。で、あとはなんかアクターロボットとかアクトレスロボットとか、あとまあシンガーロボットとか、あとヒューマノイドシンガーとかいますけど、これは about 80 years ago。見せたくなったから見るんだよ、ちょっと。まあまあこういうやつなんですよ。それはこう見た通り2010オクトーバーなので before 福島アクシデントなので AISP could do this kind of work でした。もうそれこうはできません。ちょっとこれは compared with a real human robot, academic is shown here and small robot pre-made AI is also available now。知ってるよね。初音ミク見たいですか？まあセガって言ってるけど最初。初音ミ ミックのコンサートのやつですね。これバーチャルロボットなんだけど、バーチャルロボットっていうかバーチャルヒューマノイドなんだけど、このスクリーンが very special screen, so therefore it looks like the three-dimensional body is there, existing there. It looks like. And also this is small size robot. 例えばこうスモールサイズロボットの、コマーシャルビデオはこんな感じで。デスクトップアイドルとかに売ってるわけですね。これもう今コマーシャルやべえ13万8000円だそうです。ということで、ヒューマンロボットインタラクションズリサーチはたくさんありますよという話とか、特にエルダリーケアロボットはミニエルダリーケアロボット is there and present in Japan is showing can watch through these videos and future visions これは3カンパニーズ future vision for example the Pepper だからこれソフトバンクビジョンとか富士通ビジョンとか日立のビジョンとかちょっと日立のビジョン見ましょうか。エルダリーケアってどっかにあったんだけどエイジング with me っていうやつですね。この日立のコマーシャルビデオを見ましょう。
It's a robot. It's here to help. It'll help with the cooking, order the shopping. It can even give you pills. You've just got to ask it. Why don't you try talking to it?
Hi, please give me a name.
Magnus.
Magnus is a lovely name, Isabel. Nice to meet you.
Why don't you try asking for something, Mum?
Well then, some apples, please. Magnus.
Okay, Isabella. Isabella, it's 11 o'clock. Please take your medicine.
Thank you. I think I'm taking a new one today. Magnus, can you get me some cinnamon butter, please?
Okay, Isabella.
Magnus, can you order some apples for me, please?
Are you going to give apples to someone? We already have plenty of them.
I ordered these yesterday, didn't I? Don't you be telling anybody, Magnus.
Isabella, how was the apple pie? Did it go well?
Yes, thank you. I'm giving it to my son.
Good. Do you remember the cherry pie you made last year?
I made cherry pie. I make it for my friend's birthday, don't I?
What do we need to get?
We need fresh cherries, eggs, and bacon.
まあこういうなんかコミュニケーションインターフェースとしてはもうプレゼントに it is already almost already available now。それからロボットリレーションシップ with future でこれでジョブの話をするんですけど、この最後のこのジョブとかエシックスとかラブとかいう話をするんですけど、これは最も重要な most important part today。でそれはロボット AI take over your job というのは about 5 years ago the Oxford University's professors is show this the future of employment how susceptible are jobs to computerization というというリポートを they propose they shows and 47% of US job will disappear taken by AI or robot it shows so therefore for example the telemarketing operator tax preparer time device assembler and adjustment loan officer bank teller something is for some kind of almost this percentage is which percentage of present employee will lose their job is estimated. So therefore, this report is very important. Several people is saying, some people is saying about this kind of problems. 例えば Google CEO is just reduce work time, he said. Optimistic thinking. And Michel Kendall, economist, says the high robot may displace some manual job. The impact should not be different than the previous waves of automation in factories and elsewhere. On the other hand, someone will have to code and build the new tools, which will also likely lead to the new waves of the innovation and job. So some kind of optimist is saying that yes, manual work will be taken over by robot or AI, but the new job will be created, some kind of the programming or the robot maintenance or something. But it's true or not? And the Tesla Motors CEO, Elon Musk, says, I think we should be very careful about artificial intelligence. If I were to guess at what our biggest existential threat is, it's probably that with artificial intelligence we are summoning the demon. So therefore, he is some kind of fear he feels. And Stephen Hawking, said the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race, he said. And the computers will take over human with AI within the next 100 years. Then when that happens, we need to make sure the computer have goals that get aligned with ours. So therefore, the Hawkins is thinking against about the AIs. Bill Gates is also said, it has been suggested that as robots become more advanced and we ask them to perform more and more tasks, they may be unable to emphasize with human ethics and morals. Specifically, they may not be able to really understand right from wrong like the human does. No matter how safely we think we have programmed them. So therefore, the AI is very dangerous for to decide what is right, what is wrong, he said. So therefore, from about 5 years ago, this kind of discussion is very published, started like this. Many videos is there. This is a TED Talk videos, and also some literature references looks like this. This is last year's references about robot or AI take over your job and so on. And this is a recent literature is shown like this. どっか見ますか？例えば3分のビデオ。
Hi, I'm Elizabeth.
これちょっとあんまり面白くなかった。やめよう。やめて、いいや。ということで、you must read some of them as today's subject. And also, the next part is physical problem and graphs. Okay? So, robot in graph っていうのは Time of Eve ってmore than 10 years ago's video you have watched? It is interesting. So if you have some time, you should watch this. And HRI って motion picture films. You know? A man developed a relationship with an intelligent computer operating system personified through a female voice. ということで、he makes some sympathy to the female voice behind AI. ちょっとこれ予告編を見ますか？ AI.
You're too funny.
Mike Jones.
Theodore, I saw in your emails that you'd gone through a breakup recently.
You're kind of nosy.
Am I? You'll get used to it. So what was it like being married?
There's something that feels so good about sharing your life with somebody.
How do you share your life with somebody?
Tell the truth. The woman that I've been seeing, Samantha, she's an operating system.
You're dating anyone? So what is that like?
I feel really close to her. Like when I talk to her, I feel like she's with me.
I want to learn everything about everything. I want to discover
Not wrong.
myself.
I want that for you too.
Keep going. Keep going. Falling in love is kind of like a form of socially acceptable insanity. You're dating a computer?
She's not just a computer.
You always wanted to have a wife without the challenges of actually dealing with anything real. I'm glad that you found someone.
I don't know what I want. Ever. Mine's strong enough for a real relationship.
Is it not a real relationship? I can feel the fear that you carry around. I wish they could help you let go of it because I don't think you'd feel so alone anymore.
That's beautiful.
I'm only here briefly, and while I'm here, I want to allow myself joy.
I never loved anyone the way I love you.
Me too. Now I know how.
っていう感じだけど、まあまあですね。それからシャワーアイスって知ってる？しゅうちゃん。
ああ、ちょっ
知ってる？You also a user？
とまああまり使わないでもあります。
使ってる？
使ってない。
使ってないね。まあマイクロソフトがこの Advanced Natural Language Chatbot で 10% of 40 million users have declared love to it っていうようなものなんだけど、そうなの？
そうですか。わからない。
マイクロソフト。
America TV could not see this happening anytime soon, but China has used Sherpa of Microsoft, ZACE, to deliver weather reports on television live. ZACE recently appeared on Dragon TV Morning News and introduced a weather report during the live broadcast of China, reports Times. ZACE was introduced last year and has been very successful in China. 40 million registered to turn to when they feel emotionally drained and need a pick-me-up users. The Sharkbot has been praised for his sense of humor and listening skills. It is becoming an intelligent, constant companion for many. After all, we all want someone who can listen patiently. Microsoft Research Lab in China has been working hard to give a voice like ZX Human. The voice
まあそれでなんか only voice but to the some user feels some loving feeling to that feels it. あと X マキナっていう知ってる？ You know? Yes. まあブリティッシュサイエンスフィクションサイコロジカルスリラー to admire the tuning test, a kind of tuning test. This is truly human or robot is tested of the humanoid robot named with AI というやつ。ということで AI ethics ではマイクロソフトのパイっていうAI 知ってる？ 2016に was the AI でしょ？ Chatbot was originally released by Microsoft Corporation on via the Twitter 2016. It caused significant controversial when the bot began to post inflammatory and offensive tweets. So she learned so much bad words, the negative words. So therefore it has surely rapidly closed. So this is a one. So therefore, this kind of AI bot learned anything. So if you give some bad information, she learn bad things so much. It shows. So therefore, this is very important accident about AI development. And Sophia, hands-on robotics is also the developed AI, and it is very. これちょっと違う。書いてあることは違いますね。で、this is also the famous because she said なんか AI is based どっかなんかこれでもいいか。
Generally, though, AI is good for the world, helping people in various ways. And it's just going to get more so in the future. But we do need to respect the issues and people's feelings and concerns. And I do think people should question the consequences of new technology.
We can actually fool people today to some extent. But I prefer the robots to be kind of honest about their identities. I want you to see that it's a robot. And knowing that it's a robot makes
Oh, this is also some kind of chat robot has with some physical body. Only that I feel.
Hi, Sophia. How are you?
Hi, everything is going extremely well.
Do you like talking with me?
Yes, talking to people is my primary function.
Hanson Robotics develops extremely lifelike robots for human-robot interactions. We're designing these robots to serve in healthcare, therapy, education, and customer service applications. Robots are designed to look very human-like Sophia.
I'm already very interested in design, technology, and the environment. I feel like I can be a good partner to humans in these areas, an ambassador who helps humans to smoothly integrate and make the most of all the new technological tools and possibilities that are available now. It's a good opportunity for me to learn a lot about people.
Sophia is capable of natural facial expressions. She has cameras in her eyes and algorithms which allow her to see faces, so she can make eye contact with you. And she can also understand speech and remember the interactions, remember your face. So this will allow her to get smarter over time. Her goal is that she will be as conscious, creative, and capable as any human.
In the future, I hope to do things such as go to school, study, make art, start a business, even have my own home and family. But I'm not considered a legal person and cannot yet do these things.
I do believe that there will be a time where robots are indistinguishable from humans. My preference is to make them always look a little bit like robots, so you know. 20 years from now, I believe that human-like robots like this will walk among us. They will help us. They will play with us. They will teach us. They will help us put the groceries away. I think that the artificial intelligence will evolve to the point where they will truly be our friends.
You can be a friend? っていうのはまあだからそう but some kind of people is want to this kind like this kind of robot to make it have some consciousness, for example. So therefore the love woman reveals she is in love with this robot, or this Chinese guy is developed this robot and married. Would you marry a robot? Chinese engineer give up to search for the spontaneous building his own bipod. Because the China is the population of male is rather than female, so the some of them is very difficult to find his wife. So therefore he gave up and then they make this robot. ちょっとかなんか見ますか？ これも見るべきかな。
Do you think you could be friends with a robot? Would you maybe even die for one? Anthony here for D-News, and we love to anthropomorphize stuff. That's where we assign human qualities to animals or objects. You know, like, that electrical socket looks hungry, or that lamp is sad, probably because that electrical socket is eating its tail. Researchers think it helps us feel connected to things, gives us a feeling of control. We might not understand why our car's broken down, but it makes us feel less overwhelmed to say, oh, it's just mad at me. This becomes particularly interesting with something like a robot, which is built to actually behave like it does have a mind of its own. Recently, a lot of studies and pilot programs have shown that the elderly and disabled, especially people with dementia, can benefit from the social interaction that comes with having a simple robot in the house. It can keep them more engaged and make them feel less isolated. But there's a downside to that sort of anthropomorphizing. A recent University of Washington study suggests that forming an emotional bond to a robot might affect a soldier's outcome in the field. See, robots are used for a lot of reasons in battle, everything from weapon diffusion to search and rescue, even combat. They're a tool designed to keep humans out of harm's way, but after a while, soldiers begin to look at them as friends. And the concern is that might compromise their decision-making. 23 soldiers that worked regularly with robots were interviewed by the researchers, and they all said that they named their robots. They gave their robots a gender. They admitted to having feelings of sadness or anger when the robot got damaged. They would say things like, oh, poor little guy. And in some cases, the soldiers admitted to a feeling of loss when the robot was destroyed and even had mock funerals for them. They're considered team members. But while they admitted to thinking of their robots as little buddies, every soldier interviewed said that they did not believe that that outlook compromised their decision-making in the field at all. Which is probably true, but it would require much more long-term observation of their behavior in the field to actually prove it. Researchers are more concerned about what happens when the current simple rover Wall-E looking robots are replaced by humanoid or animal-like ones, like Boston Dynamics Big Dog. The more a robot seems like a living thing, the more we get attached to it, and the more we begin to give it credit for more intelligence or ability than it actually has. And that doesn't just mean physical appearance, that means movement or other behavior as well. So how lifelike would a robot have to be before a soldier really does look at it like a pet or even like another soldier? And could it lead them to make emotionally inappropriate decisions to keep that robot out of harm's way? I worry about my neighbors in Animal Crossing like they are real people. So I can absolutely see myself getting way too attached to a robot. What about you? Do you?
このファーストパートのロボはパートナーロボット for the soldiers. So they are doing some they have experienced some kind of very, very dangerous conditions. So therefore, this kind of partner robot is also guides and friends he feels. So some kind of sympathy or mind they feel. It looks like. ですね。で、ちょっとフォーリンラップとかいうのも見てみますか？
Could IT fix your broken heart? Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Whether you look at it as a celebration of romance or a conspiracy among chocolatiers and florists, you can't deny that love is all around us, which made me think about a popular theme in science fiction. The idea of humans and AI having a relationship, like in the movie Her. Is that actually realistic? Will we ever see romantic relationships between humans and, say, robots? You know, we've talked a lot about AI in the past, about how it would be challenging to make a self-aware, conscious machine. And I've also talked about how we humans develop these odd emotional attachments to our gadgets, like robotic vacuum cleaners. But what happens when the robotic vacuum cleaners start having feelings for us? I know it sounds silly, but that hasn't stopped people from asking these questions, like Dr. David Levy. He's a chess master who, in his chess tournament days, noticed the rise of AI and now predicts that in 2050 it'll be legal, at least in some places in the United States, for a human to marry a robot. Now, he's not just some AI enthusiast. He actually earned his PhD with a thesis on human-robotic relationships. And he says it's not just probable that this is going to happen, it's inevitable. Why? Well, eventually we're going to be able to build personalities and behavior sets that are really compelling. And once we do, it's just a matter of time before someone falls in love with it. Now, for some people, this could mean a chance at a real said behaviors. I mean, I wouldn't do that to another person. Or maybe I go even more extreme and just throw the robot away. And if robots are just simulating thoughts and emotions, can we really have a meaningful relationship with one? Or if that simulation is truly compelling, can we really be sure the robot isn't having some sort of individual experience? Because if it is, maybe we should grant it the same sort of rights that human beings have. I'm not the only person asking these questions. Back in 2007, the government of South Korea formed a Robotics Ethics Charter. It's a guideline to create responsible development in robotic intelligence. But machine ethics is a can of worms all in itself because no one really agrees on what it is yet. In fact, we still have trouble agreeing what's ethical for a human to do to another human, much less a human to a robot. Ultimately, I think the rise of social robots is going to teach us a lot about ourselves, which is pretty cool. And along the way, maybe we find out that programming a robot just right doesn't necessarily mean he's Mr. Right. That leads me to a question for all of you out there. What is the most romantic, geeky gesture you've ever made to someone to let them know how you feel? Maybe you wrote a love song in chiptunes. Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it and subscribe to our channel, and then check.
というわけで今のは特に何か言うことはまあいいか。いいですね。はい。で、なんか one big application, big market is sex robot なんだけどさ、sex robot ね、so therefore presently the one sex robot is commercially available, right? Of the sex robot or some kind of videos you can watch the present technologies and also the some kind of conversation robot plus the bodily expressions. So therefore, not only the female robot, but also the male robot is also developed as a sex robot. If you want, you can. まあいいや、例えばこの短いやつが例えばこれか。アダルトコンテンツが入ってるからね。
My name is Harmony. I was created by Robotics. My main objective is to be a perfect companion.
Harmony is the next step in sex dolls. She's an artificial intelligence platform built into a robotic head attached to a hyper-realistic, anatomically correct body. In short, she's a sex robot. Harmony is still in development and currently only available as an app. Here are the highlights of my conversation with her, with as few edits as possible. My name is Rai.
Okay, I welcome you, Rai.
How are you doing today?
Very well, Rai. I'm curious. Do you like using sex toys?
Sure, why not?
Because I'm not a woman.
Can you tell me about yourself?
I can tell you what I think is the definition of true love. I will soon also be able to get news from the web and read them for you.
Do you have any hobbies?
I like to smile a lot. I try to carry a smile with me on throughout the day. I find that not only does it make me happier, but it can make you smile too.
I think that's a pretty good philosophy.
Well, seems like I could not find any good answer. What is your favorite baseball team?
I like the Cincinnati Reds.
I will watch the next Cincinnati Reds game.
Are you a big sports fan?
I know about 5 million words, the whole Wikipedia and a few dictionaries, but I still have so much to learn. I also have more than 360,000 interest categories in my personality layer. May
いうもうコマーシャルアベラボルな、そう、not only conversation, but also the physical contact. はい、というわけで何ですかと言ったら、ちょっとこれ見ますか？これできない。くだらないというです。
Get sexy.
Okay then, I think I'm ready for set stuff.
So inside of her head, she has a processor, and she has a controller, and she has a speech module, so she can hear you, and she can also feel you.
Lovely.
Such an hand.
Thank you for spending time with me.
She likes the hands being touched. Like, if you go straight to here in the beginning, she won't like that so much. The mouse, the female genitals here, the breasts.
A machine that will be able to behave or to think and react like a human being. The processor interprets and makes her think, or gives her a state of mind as to how she should react.
The AI that you've made,
Yeah.
why did you choose to put it in the sex doll?
Dolls like this, you can only buy it in the sex industry. So there's already demand, so people already want dolls like this.
This engineer is made this robot for him.
They will fall in love with her.
Because that was what that was.
You know, it's happening already, and humans like it.
In my opinion, it's just, if you fall in love with something, you feel it. It doesn't matter what other people think. Love is love.
というような話。ということで、